been wanting to make this video for a while, and I hope I get all of the details correctly. If I don't, I will correct myself as I think of the corrections, because the argument I'm making is actually very hard to do. I hope I'm making a good enough argument. So, what is my argument? We need to change the legal definition for person, because these corporations, along with Citizens United, needs to come to an end. They are not a person. They do not deserve the protections of a person. The Constitution protects the human right, while regulations help protect and make sure that the corporation doesn't affect our human rights to live. And because of the definition of person, they have constitutional rights that they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have protections like that. So let me read the post I wrote. Let's get started. So this is the video I'm making. This is what I say. I'm gonna make a video on this thought, but people are now understanding how Citizens United needs to be overturned. The only way I can see this happening is if we change the legal term for person. An entity is not a person. A corporation does not have inalienable rights. So I'm gonna open the definition app. I am using Cornell Law School, the Legal Information Institute. So, legal person. A legal person is a human or a non-human legal entity that is treated as a person for legal purposes. A legal person is capable of engaging in all usual legal business that a real person can participate in, such as suing, being sued, owning property, and entering into contracts. The concept of legal personhood is especially popular in business law, where business organizations like corporations, partnerships, and limited liability companies possess legal parenthood. As a result, these statutorily created entities are able to be treated as legal distinct from their shareholders and officers. The legal personhood of legal entities is also understood to afford some constitutional rights to these entities, including the due process and equal protection aspect of the 14th Amendment. This aspect of legal personhood features prominently in the Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission 2010 decision upholding political campaign contributions as an exercise of a corporation's free speech right. So if I get this correctly, they get to donate 2 to 3 times, if I'm hearing that correctly. So a corporation can back the politician, but also the politician as an individual can also back the politician.
I meant to say, like the CEO, the vice president, and all that can also back the politician while being in a corporation, which means they can donate 2 to 3 times.
That doesn't seem right to me. And I know the regulation status right now is to get rid of Citizens United. And
quickly to add on to that, I know there's a regulation on donations as well, where each individual can only donate, and I know it's on different races, so there's different rules, but you can only donate up to $2,500. So from my understanding is a corporation can donate that $2,500, and then the CEO can donate that $2,500, equal to $5,000, and then going from there. And then of course, having the VP donate as well, another $2,500. And does he get a second vote to where, because he represents the corporation, does he also get to tag in and say a corporate gets another $2,500 100? I don't know. I don't know how that works exactly.
That will work. But with this definition existing, I do believe that another Citizens United will creep back in because of this particular argument. So I think the legal definition of a person should change because an entity cannot defend itself without a legal representation of a person. So like the human rights person is to protect the entity. If the human rights person ignores the people that are coming to, describe the problems and they just brush it aside or cover the ass of the CEO, they should be equally liable for the CEO's problems. Or even then, because the CEO, we don't know if the CEO actually knows the problems that are happening.
They
Because,
usually do, to be clear.
The human resource is protecting the company. And if they're doing a good enough job, hundreds of cases will just be swept aside, dismissed. We're letting corporations right now buying land for data centers. So, because of this definition, they're able to buy land using a conglomerate or a corporation itself representing itself to buy this land. And because it's a person, they need that drinking water to survive. They need to poison the people around them because they need to survive.
And by they, I'm referring to the AI itself.
Because without that water, which they can't keep poisoning us. Because they are now discriminating against other people. So what they're doing is illegal. We all know this. Obviously, they're contaminating the water. They're going beyond the EPA, whatever it is, whatever they haven't bought yet. But they are actively discriminating against the human because they favor the AI DNA. They think it's a higher life form. So with this definition, it's not a person, is what I'm trying to get at. These data centers, these corporations, these entities, these conglomerates, these monopolies, they are not people. People have to represent the company. They literally hire representatives to go around and represent the company.
They also buy politicians to represent them and have laws represent them and only represent them, therefore discriminating against the rest of us, whether that's the person itself or the consumer, which is also a person.
I forget which town it was, but they are literally siphoning power from the city itself, making sure that we are all miserable during this climate change crisis that we're in right now. All this drought or the constant storms, whatever, shutting down our power to go and feed it to this entity, this thing.
And another thing is, the reason why corporations have bathrooms and water fountains and sinks and all that is because the person inside it needs it. The millions of gallons of water that they're using per month, whatever it is not going to a person. It's going to these computers, these things, these entities. A person needs that water. This entity shouldn't have access to it because it isn't alive.
It needs to be stopped.
Not a person.
This AI is not a person. So I know in the courts they're going to argue that it's a person, but I mean, we've seen it time and time again. How many lawsuits have both Legal Eagle and Cohen? How many lawsuits have you read where the lawyer tried to use AI and epically failed because the AI just made stuff up, made up court cases, made up quotes, made up rules. It was just a horrible. It's been horrible since the beginning, and we know for those of us who use the internet a lot, to not trust the AI the Google summary gives, because it literally gives phantom answers. It's not resourceful at all. It hasn't proven to be resourceful. And then, of course, the person that controls the AI, like Elon Musk's AI, he can turn it into Mega Hitler. He has control over this AI, this entity that is not a person.
And to expand on that further, Google is now gonna pursue this new AI thing to where the AI is just gonna be the summary that you're gonna have to read, and it's gonna link to other AI articles, and it's going to push away the human element, the human journalist or writer or whatever, etc. So they are controlling what we see. Instead of searching in the search bar and trying to figure out the information for yourself, because obviously you got right-winging, left-winging, central, and you got foreign people talking about the same subject. It's up to you to read all that and try to come up with your own conclusion. They are not allowing you to come up with your own conclusion. They are taking away the human element for this entity, making us even dumber, which is also affecting the ability to live, because we cannot decide for ourselves. They are deciding for us.
So I just think this AI thing, the person definition, the legal definition should change, because these corporations have took their person attitude and took it to the nth degree, where they are just rushing through, trying to get past all the regulations, trying to buy all the politicians, just throwing money everywhere so they can build these things and take away our inalienable rights to live, and taking away our rights to what is it called, to have the American dream, because they want us all jobless. So let me get back to my post. So let me finish this argument off. It requires a spokesman of that entity to speak on its behalf. A corporation has to have many persons in order for the entity to exist. Without a person, a corporation does not exist. The problem with changing the definition of persons in corporate speak, it's been like this since the Roman era. They coined the term and defined it. That would be the challenge. But as long as a corporation has the rights of a person, Citizens United will exist again under a new name. And that's what I got for my argument so far. It's not fully thought out yet, but that's what I got so far, and I would like to know, counter arguments. I would like to hear arguments that expand upon this. Let me hear your opinions. I gave this some real deep thought into how to fix our democracy and repair, because this is what we're facing right now. We're gonna have to get rid of MAGA, get rid of fascism, arrest a lot of MAGA people, but after that, we're in a democracy and repair. Once the Democrats take over and people actually get punished, which we need to make sure people get punished, because I got an inkling feeling that we're gonna see another, I forget what the president, but the guy who pardoned Nixon, I have a feeling a lot of pardons will also come by, if, to try to quote unquote heal the country and try to move past this. This isn't something that we can move past. People have to get arrested. People have to get punished. It's bad. It's really bad. We're gonna survive this. I have no doubts. We're gonna survive this. We're gonna be okay. But there's a lot of suffering to come. Just my best estimations, democracy will take around 20 years to repair it, and then another 20 years to repair our foreign alliances. Maybe not that long, because if we arrest the right people and we say enough sorry, and we need to unblock Iran from everything and give back all their money and try to shit, I don't know. Either just stay out of the Middle East or send nothing but help in repairs, because we hurt the Middle East a lot. But that's a whole different conversation that I'm leaning into. The point being, corporations have sold us out to the point where somehow they sold us back to them. They sold us out to foreigners, and the foreigners are helping them sell us to them. And now they're threatening to take all our jobs, and we won't need money anymore. The reason why Elon Musk is talking about we don't need money anymore is because he's actually heavily in debt. That's my estimate. His shit is I don't understand how Tesla's still making money. I don't know how SpaceX hasn't not been a disaster. I think recently, as a week ago, another rocket blew up.
As it landed.
Man, because of this entity, we have so much space trash in our atmosphere. It's getting harder and harder to launch, rockets to the moon, and that reminds me of another talking point. That's why I froze. Okay, so this still ties into the entity is not a person, and they need to be regulated. I guess we need space regulations now, if it doesn't already exist. And if it already exists, it's weak sauce, and we need to fix that. Because I heard that the thousands of satellites that Elon has launched, they only last 5 years before they crash into the Earth. And that's going to poison our atmosphere further, from what I heard. The only way I can see fixing that is if make the thrusters leave our atmosphere. If they have enough thrusters in the satellite to leave the atmosphere. If not, we need to hurry up and come up with some full humanity-saving plan to be able to send a bunch of drones up there, which I know our drone warfare is getting pretty scary and deadly. Maybe we can use some of that technology to launch drones into the air where we can move satellites away from our atmosphere, because they only last for 5 years, and then they cook up in our atmosphere. And I heard that one of the chemicals in these satellites, it starts with an N, I can't remember, will stay there for like 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, I don't remember the years, and it's gonna slowly burn our atmosphere. I have a link below the YouTube button where I heard that from. It's actually someone that earned my scientific trust. I just don't watch him a lot because the shit that he talks about scares me.
Anton Petrov.
Anton, I'm remembering his name. Anton, let me see. I'm looking for it right now. Anton Petrov, that's who I listen to. So the video is, and I'll still link it below, but I want to tell you anyway. SpaceX is conducting a giant chemical experiment on our atmosphere. And he was talking about the satellites, 5 years, it'll burn up. There needs to be a lot of regulations, a lot of a lot of closing of loopholes. I'm running out of throat energy, so let me cut to the chase and say my argument is that an entity is not a person. That needs to change. In order to get rid of Citizens United and kill it forever, we need to change the legal definition of this.
I believe that's it. Yep, I think that's it. That is my argument. I mean, much like we need to have a license to make a lemonade stand in the corner, a business needs to require a license to exist. And we need to regulate its existence. It does not deserve the same protections as a human does, because it is not human. It is to support a human. It is not a replacement. A corporation can shut down and the person can move on. These data centers, these conglomerates, these monopolies, they're not making us they're not letting us move on. They want to stop us from doing anything. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.